Okay, as I mentioned previously, when this becomes recorded, this becomes a pure telepathic communication between us as individual beings. It is not psychic. It does not involve the positive and negative, unreliable energies of the psychic worlds. The psychic energy in the omnipresent you that's behind it works through the etheric, mental, causal, astral, and physical worlds. We do not play with those energies on these journeys. They pretty much are misdirecting and a waste of time. We go into the pure hue that comes from Source itself, that is located out in space outside of Earth's atmosphere, in that big black void that people see in Space Hubble telescope images or in big telescopes, radio telescopes, where they can show us billions of galaxies. And these little galaxies create electromagnetic fields turning on an axis that allows them to float in this so-called void energy. Human eyes on Earth cannot see this golden white light because it isn't black as it appears to human eyes on Earth. We have to get out of our body in our pure form, which is spherically shaped energy. It's spherical. Planets and moons and suns and stars are round because they are made in the image of their creators, or in the image of the Creator, if that feels better to you. But that means that what we are that run bodies has never been a physical body. And what we really are doesn't look like a physical body. So what we are is pure energy made in the image of the Source was never a physical looking human form. Those are genetic bodies. They're developed over millions and billions of years to develop higher nervous systems. So the Atma, the true you, what people on Earth call soul, can run these bodies. We were meant to come into the lower worlds like Earth, fully conscious, fully aware as Atmas, running bodies knowing we aren't them, being able to move in and out of them easily and effortlessly. This is how we once were long ago. This is not something you need to acquire in the future, like sitting with the guru for 100 years and learning how to go through these levels of initiation till you get revealed the truth, or wait till you die and then God will reveal it to you. This is not the way things really are. We're meant to recover what we are while we're running bodies, not after they pass. So this work has everything to do with assisting you through these guided journeys by being in direct contact with the primal first sound behind creation, the first word, the original omnipresent sound that comes from Source. The energy out in space is a white golden light everywhere. We see this as Atmas as soon as we get up there. Don't endeavor, or I would recommend don't endeavor to try to see the things on this journey and try to do it in the way that you see with physical eyes on Earth. That won't work. Think of it this way. Everyone on Earth knows how to daydream. Everyone. It's simply the ability to see going to the store, and then your body gets in a car and goes to the store. If you see getting on an airplane going to another country, your body and you, the personality, will get a ticket and get on the airplane and go there. That is daydreaming. Because people on Earth are not taught at all, from birth, from anyone, how to utilize that creative imagination, that ability to see into the cosmos. People on Earth just don't look up. They just don't do it. They don't know how to do it. And more than that, they're subconsciously usually terrified of doing it because of religious and political training and brainwashing they've received on this planet by fellow beings who are even more afraid than you are. And so nobody's telling anybody the real truth about what they are as beings. Because once you start to remember that, everything changes. This image above Sophie and behind my head is there for a reason. It is the original art created for the cover of the Emerald Doorway book, one of 3 in a parallel time trilogy. That is what we really look like Not an astral body, not a physical body. People talk about soul all the time and haven't got a clue what it looks like, or what it's structured like, or what to go do with it. They think they are a body with a soul somewhere tucked away they'll find someday. This is not correct. They are that running a brain and body. That runs a brain and body through the pineal gland in the center of the human brain. It is the controlling gland that regulates and runs the entire nervous system. Bodies and brains do not run on their own. They're like a car. Unless you get in and turn the key, the car doesn't do anything. Hearts, blood pumping, brains working only work because the Atma brings to it a certain energy that runs it. Or the body just drops dead. It's as simple as that. We are the energy source for running bodies, but have long been made to forget what we are and what our purpose for existing is really all about. We are, in fact, every one of us, meant to be trustworthy, conscious co-creators with the source behind all life. The true source. That source, when you go into it and experience for yourself, has never requested or required that we worship it. That is done by tyrants and kings and corrupt priest caste on earth to control people. We are meant to go back to that source, experience it for ourselves, and respect it and all life. That's all. We're only required to respect all life. To do that, we have to know what that life is. And to do that, we have to get ourselves out beyond Earth's atmosphere and play in the universe again like we once did. All I can do is tell you the truth. And when you hear it, it'll ring a bell inside you. And you'll begin to understand that you once knew this, and you'll ask yourself, how could I have forgotten so much? Because it will appear like you always knew it. One of the phenomena of these journeys is that when you come back, this is arranged by myself, very advanced masterful beings that are not from Earth, to bring back awareness of this journey to the body and brain and personality you have on the planet that never learned any of it, none of it whatsoever growing up. You know that I can't hear you, right? You're talking. Pan, whatever, yeah. You need to go silent to go on the journey. It's very important. Because we're going to leave the bodies behind. Every night, you all put that body in what we call from other worlds, the trance state called sleep. Everybody knows how to do this. You do it like masters. It's easy for you to put a body to sleep. What happens is, when the body goes to sleep, the pineal gland in the center of the brain releases serotonin, which makes melatonin, which puts the body on automatic while you are gone, every single night. If you're not taught any of this growing up, why would you know it as an adult? So as an adult, it's more difficult for people to grasp new things and to let go of old things that keep them from remembering who they are. There is only one thing that blocks everyone from remembering what they knew before they were compelled to be born on this planet with little or no memory, and that is fear. This is not conscious fear that I'm speaking of. It is subconsciously, artificially implanted fear. And this was done to people before they were born here and during their journeys in other worlds and lives out in the universe, particularly the Milky Way galaxy. There was a war 500,000 years ago that came to an end with the defeat of tyrant spacefaring races. They misused technology in a Cold War since then to capture people in secret, kill their bodies, and stuff them in bodies on Earth like political prisoners. This was going on for a very long time, and this is now being reversed. true disclosure of extraterrestrials and UFO technology is not just about telling people aliens exist. Most everybody on Earth knows that or suspects it. It's about disclosing to the people of the world not only that they exist, but introducing them to the people of the world. This will change everything. Official disclosure of what's been kept highly classified regarding extraterrestrials for more than 70 years has now begun in the United States for the first time this last year. It is the beginning of something important. And this is taking place not because leaders on Earth have the courage to disclose what they're afraid to tell the rest of the people. It's because they are being compelled from a vast host of extraterrestrial races to start to tell the truth by a certain deadline, or it will be done for them without their involvement. Now, this scares leaders. The beings I work with have no intention, nor have they ever had any intention of taking over Earth. Only tyrants do that. And there are no tyrant alien races mixed up in our solar system anymore. They were removed from this planet more than 25 years ago. And people in the extraterrestrial and UFO communities are operating 25 years behind the times right now. There's no Greys abducting anybody. There's no reptilians and secret bases underground. They're gone. They were not removed by our classified people. They didn't know how to get rid of them. They were removed by the Galactic Alliance for our benefit. The polar shifts of Earth that occurred every 100,000 years have been permanently stopped, or we'd all be dead already. We're past the 100,000 years now. That was stopped to give us a chance. When we go on these journeys, you begin to become introduced to what are called the mechanics of creation. They are beings of wondrous enlightenment. They have never had a direct association with individual Atmas or beings like us. Master teachers do, but the mechanics of creation, the silent mentors, do not. If you want to know what they are and how they hold the universe together and guard the doorways between dimensions and keep planets spinning on their axes and galaxies turning on theirs, then you have to go meet them. We cannot do that in the lower worlds of time and space because they do not come here to meet with you. We have to go to a place called the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. And it is located above the void that is known to certain esoteric groups on Earth. Beyond it, of the realm of Satnam, the realm of the Atma, into the higher realities. There is no negative nature there whatsoever and never was. And we originate from there. So when we go back there, we start bringing this back with us. And it begins to change consciousness. It begins to raise your IQ and your intelligence, far beyond what you could learn in any university on Earth. It begins to bring back to us the many lives and brilliance and intelligence we had running other bodies, even human, that lived for thousands of years, long before this lifetime on Earth. I share this with you as a telepathic communication. And I'm not alone in this. There are co-creative, masterful beings that work with me by their choice, and I with them, in order to begin this process of disclosure for people on Earth. It isn't just about telling people aliens exist. It's about preparing people to be able to handle and accept a massive landing of craft from other worlds on this planet. Because that's coming. The way people are right now, with all the fear that's running them subconsciously, they'd be rioting in the streets, governments would collapse, people would be hoarding toilet paper and paper towels, and it would be a nightmare because of fear. So that fear subconsciously first needs to be neutralized. And there has to be enough boots on the ground on this planet that are aware enough as what they are as Atmas to facilitate channeling in this energy, guiding in this energy to transform this world in an unexpected new way for the first time. We cannot save ourselves on this planet. There are 8 billion people living here who don't even remember anything worth any value about their lives in the universe, their purpose, what they really are. None of it. And this means people, governments, and leaders, religious leaders, are making decisions based on fear every day. Fear is negative. There's an old ancient law of the physical universe that says every action creates an equal and opposite reaction in space-time. This means what we put out, and if it's fear, it can only come back negative. You can't get a positive from a negative. So I don't blame the leaders of the world, religious or political, for what they're doing because they can't help it. What was done to them was not done to them with their permission, any more than it was done to you with yours. This has to be reversed first. These journeys begin that process. They're most rare. This kind of thing has never been done for people on Earth before, ever. In 65 million years of life on this planet, since the dinosaurs were made extinct, what is taking place now has never occurred in this way on any world. This is new. In this work, we call the omnipresent first sound behind creation, that vast one power of living energy that supports the entire multidimensional creation, the hue. It comes from the first half of the word human, hidden in plain sight. People sit there and look at the word and don't know what to do with it. When we send out the hue, it sets up a doorway, a connection between the pineal gland, the center of the brain, and you hovering above that body right now, running it and not being aware of it. It begins to reverse that. It begins to make that conscious. This is important for you to be aware of this before we go outside of Earth's atmosphere. Do not think of this as complicated or difficult. That would be incorrect. It's as easy as you imagining going to the store, except instead of moving the body to the store, we're putting the body in the sleep state, just like you do when you go to bed at night. And then we go out of that body with the help and assistance of very wonderful, kind, masterful beings from other worlds who know how to do this and how to escort you, keeping what's called your primary subconscious implant turned off so you can gain the best benefit from this journey and bring it back to Earth. I know from much experience that the beings that are guided on these journeys eventually come to know this for themselves. Begins to wake up. It begins to be recovered. Sit back, relax, take a deep breath, and imagine someone you respect and love and you're grateful they are in your life. Person, place, or thing. Just something that makes you smile inside when you first see it. Could be a child's smile, could be a hummingbird, a waterfall, a beautiful star-filled sky, anything. It's constructive and positive, and this opens that doorway that I'm speaking about. There is a man and a woman assigned to each one of us here, including me and Perry. They are not from Earth. They never were born on Earth. They are human in this case, but much more evolved human. They appear to be about 36 years of age. About 6 feet tall. Long hair to their shoulders. Male and female, but perfect. Handsome beyond description or beautiful beyond description. And they're showing what their bodies look like aboard certain ships, spacecraft, which are hovering out in space, outside of Earth's atmosphere, that patrol our solar system to keep us from destroying ourselves. In part, that's why they are there now. There are certain classified people on Earth who know this very well. So they're going to have to change. People are going to have to change, whether they like it or not, in order to be able to appreciate and embrace the greater God that exists beyond this earth, out in the greater heavens. Because most of what people call God is not on this planet. It's out there in trillions of worlds on multiple dimensional levels. As the Atma, the real you, we are capable of knowing and understanding this. As a brain and body and personality of one lifetime on earth, it cannot comprehend such things. The personality and brain and body you have in life on earth needs to gradually be brought up in ability to accept and understand such things. If this was a normal planet, which it is not yet, you would have known this when you were children. And doing this now would be as easy as breathing. Do not think of extraterrestrials as alien. I will tell you why. Because you did not originate on this planet either. You are extraterrestrial in nature. In fact, you're so extraterrestrial in nature you didn't even originally evolve in the physical universe. You need to know this, or you're not going to remember it. The omnipresent power, what people pray to, that golden white light out in space, right out there. We are meant to imagine where we want to go or visualize it. And that one power manifests all things we imagine or visualize. We are not the power that manifests where we go. We are the drops of a mighty ocean of a pure golden white light in spherical form that comes from the source itself, like a drop out of a mighty ocean of the same energy. This is true. This is something you all knew once, an ancient long time ago. And through countless lives on many levels, this was all forgotten long ago. But it is reversible. And as it begins to be reversed, the omnipresent source energy itself we plug into begins to be your master teacher. It begins to take over the affairs of your life, and it begins to help you understand and remember what and who you are that you once knew while you're still alive on earth. This changes everything. We need about 150 million people on this planet out of 8 billion walking around somewhat aware in this way to transform an entire world. It's a very small percentage of the whole population. We are not there yet, but we're heading in that direction. You are now becoming part of this. It's very constructive. It's very beneficial. It will change your life forever. Once we plug into this energy, there is no reversing it. It cannot be undone. This is for your benefit. What you call master beings or masterful teachers will contribute certain gifts of helping you be uplifted or get over certain hurdles. When they think, if they do it for you, you will be able to keep it and not lose it again. This is how they work. They do not dump on a golden platter instant freedom for anyone, because you just abuse it unconsciously and end up in the same trap here. So they guide us in a way to unravel this tight knot of subconscious fear gradually until we can keep what they provide. They teach by direct experience, by demonstration. When we meet with them, you will see how real human beings live and what they are like. And this way, it kind of rubs off on us, because the omnipresent source energy is moving freely through them in ways that it does not move freely through us while we're living on a planet as backward as Earth is. And it is extremely backward, the people on it. They're not very evolved at all, but they once were. Being evolved, what people call ascending, is not something that you do to escape to some higher heaven. We have to be able to be conscious as spherical atmas running bodies on all levels to have what we call freedom. To do that, we have to know the life that exists in the grand multidimensional creation. We all must know this. It is required for us to return to the source which we haven't been doing for billions of years, and become co-creators with that source. This is our destiny. It is your destiny, whether you know it or not. So ultimately, we're meant to be co-creators and operate in the entire multidimensional creation. Run planets, galaxies, whole realms. This is a training that goes with this. Fear is the only thing we will ever have to let go of. Subconscious implants are artificial, secondary implants are artificial programs that influence your nervous system to make incorrect decisions every day, especially when it comes to your becoming free and waking up. It's easier to believe in someone to save you, or in some you'll find out after you die, because then people don't have to work or put any effort into anything. This does not work. We are meant to co-create our own freedom with the one source power behind all creation. Imagine someone you respect and love, you're grateful they're in your life, a person, place, or thing, but something that makes you smile. The man and woman that I was talking about, standing behind each one of you, are part of what is called the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds. It is headquartered in the physical Milky Way galaxy on a planet called Zetranami 1, located near but not in the galactic core. On these journeys, we will go there this very night, or morning if that's what it is for you. And then we're going to go up beyond the lower worlds, into the void, beyond the void, and up to where it really matters. To gain conscious freedom as a being, once again, we have to journey above the void. The void is a barrier of pure hue energy between the lower worlds of time and space and the upper realities where pure positive energy exists. It's what we're made of. And we have every right to go there. To go there, though, we have to be aware of it. What I share with you helps you see visually what places look like there. Why? So when you do your own contemplation later and go into the hue, you can remember this journey and then tell the omnipresent power where you want to go. Because the only way it will work with you is if you visualize in it first where you want to go, and then it will take you there. It will not move a finger to help you otherwise. So we need to be awake and aware of things we've forgotten, how the astral plane looks, how the mental plane looks. What's the void like really? What's the first realm above the void like? What do things look like there? How do we remember that? That's what this journey is about. For new people, I think it's important that I read at least the description of two couples, not from Earth, so that you have a visual understanding of what these extraterrestrial humans look like visually. I think this is important. So I'll read it for you. Just try to visualize it with your eyes closed. Try to see them. And if you don't close your eyes, you're going to be looking at this world and you're not going to see anything. Physical eyes cannot see them. They're standing behind you, but they are made of pure energy. They're not human DNA bodies. They are a projection from the Atma, what they really are. Chantiel and Tonaltiel, a man and woman, are from beyond the Pleiades area, which is about 500 light years away, but they're from star systems much further behind that. They look to be about 35 to 38 years old, and he is really about 375 Earth years old compared to an Earth human. He looks to be 36. She's about 266 years old and looks to be about 36. He has long blonde hair and robin's egg blue eyes, slightly larger than Earth humans. She has long brunette hair and emerald green eyes, also slightly larger than Earth humans. They are very experienced, well-trained technicians. Among other beneficial disciplines, that remove what are called secondary implants, so the real person, the Atma, can begin to gain mastery over what is called the primary implant. These things you don't have to be concerned about on this journey, because these beings are keeping them turned off. It is not you, the body, that goes on the journey. It's you, the Atma. The body gets put on automatic. So you'll experience what it's like to be sitting there kind of asleep, but aware of my voice. Don Tam and Lam Tam, their co-workers, their associates, appear about the same age. He has golden colored eyes, brown hair, and she has red ruby eyes and yellow red hair, also slightly larger than Earth humans. Well dressed in a blue-gray fabric, one single piece form-fitting uniform. On the right chest area is a silver galaxy. There's a four-sided golden pyramid above the central nucleus of that galaxy with a quartz cap. On top of it is three blue, cobalt blue stars in triangular formation. It's a symbol of the Galactic Alliance. This is not known amongst UFO and extraterrestrial people on Earth yet, because they have not explored or been exposed to races and beings that far toward the center of the galaxy. There are more than 450 million spacefaring races in the Galactic Alliance alone. There is no war taking place in our galaxy now. None. No matter what you hear on the internet. People peddling fear without realizing it, thinking they're doing a service, will tell you there's reptilians with Nazis in Antarctica. There is not. They're gone from the solar system. They were not removed by us. They were removed by the Galactic Alliance to prepare the way. Shantiel and Tontiel are standing behind Perry. Don Tim and Lam Tim are standing behind me. And behind each one of you is another man and woman about similar in appearance, flawlessly handsome, flawlessly beautiful. And above them you can see a spherical golden white light, the Atma, with all of its levels and colors and teardrop-shaped faculties. And you are hovering near the ceiling between them. And here's the thing. You're showing them a female body that looks to be about 36 and just as perfectly beautiful, because this is how we've always been able to show ourselves to each other. This is not a DNA body. This is your original prototype form you've had since the beginning. It is a human-looking body. You could walk up and touch it. But it's not made of DNA or molecules. It's made of the hue. The energy behind all that. The one power behind all that. You can look down and see your body sitting there. This is daydreaming, folks. You imagine going to the store and you get up and go to the car and go to the store, no big deal. Well, now you're imagining looking down at your body from the ceiling. That's all. You can see a huge, it's called electromagnetic field. It comes out the south pole of the Atma and in the north pole of the Atma that's hovering near the ceiling. You all have them. There's one around your physical body. Comes out the bottom of your spine, goes in the top of the head. It is out in those fields of energy that are much bigger than psychics on Earth call an aura, where implants are. They're not in the body. They're not in the brain. They're not under the skin. They are not in the Atma itself. What we really are as beings cannot be implanted, cannot be destroyed, cannot be affected by negative things and missiles and the misuse of technology. But the energy field that surrounds us looks just like what the one does that surrounds the planet Earth. You get on Google and Google it, you'll see what the electromagnetic field around the Earth looks like. An identical one surrounds you. The Earth floats in this field of moving energy in order to be able to hang there in space in this other white golden omnipresent power. Galaxies, billions of stars and planets orbiting a center create an electromagnetic field around that galaxy, coming out the south axis and into the north axis of that galaxy, just like it does around a planet and around you. This is how they float in this other energy. There is no limit to the speed of light, as people on Earth are ignorantly taught. That was measured by physical eyes on Earth with the limits of physical eyes. There is no limit to the speed of light. It does not take billions of years from light from other galaxies to reach us. That's just what physical eyes can detect. There is no limit. When people on Earth begin to discover this, they'll be able to work with that one power to work with anti-gravitic propulsion. The fact is, in order for you to have an anti-gravitic ship, you have to know how to work with the one living power, divine spirit, the one energy behind all creation, or that does not work. Rocket ships with fuel and oxygen will never go very far, even in our solar system. Not now, not ever. Such technologies are forbidden, outlawed outside of this planet. They do not use radioactive man-made isotopes or nuclear bombs or any of that. They're outlawed. So there is no future for us on Earth in space the way we are. Because space is already occupied by far more advanced races, and they're not going to tolerate our nonsense out there. So first, we have to change. This man and woman behind you, and you projecting a form like them, are pointing upward. You hear a sound. It sounds like gentle rumbling thunder. Inside, in your imagination, not outside. It's not in your room where you live. It's not the refrigerator. The atma hears this. Your physical ears do not. It's like gentle rumbling thunder, like a humming sound, but there's no lightning. It's not frightening. It's uplifting. Suddenly you find yourself at 10,000 meters in the atmosphere, floating there, looking all the way down through the roof of where you live, looking at yourself hovering near the ceiling with these two beings, looking down on your body, seeing the electromagnetic field, the aura around it. But you're in two places at the same moment, because atmas are multi-dimensional capable. We have always been this way. It is not something you need to develop in the infinite future as you become greatly more masterful. What needs to happen is you need to remember it first. Then it can be taken further. You hear this sound pulling on you and you find yourself in outer space. In space, looking at Earth in the distance with its polar ice caps, its blue oceans, its land masses, the barren moon, pockmarked with meteor craters, orbiting the Earth, but it does not turn on its axis. It always shows people on Earth the same face. Always. This is not correct. That's a broken planet. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do for people on Earth because it doesn't turn. The sun is in the distance, and everywhere around you, instead of seeing black, which you'd expect, everything around us is a white golden light. It's a different energy, so that all the planets and moons and suns and stars of the galaxy that you see out in space, big blue hot white giant stars, big yellow ones, little red dwarf stars, big giant red planets, red stars, appear floating in this atmosphere, clearly visible. It is a different energy than the matter that it supports. All that vast area in space is not black, dark matter, as they originally thought. It is a living one power, and it is the same through the entire multidimensional creation in the void and into the upper worlds, way up above the Hue Expansion Ray Academy, all the way to Source itself, where we originate. We do not originate in the lower worlds of time and space. No being running a body originates down here. It's the first thing we have to remember, because it gives us power over fear. It's a natural, childlike process. It works better when it's effortless. Out in space, you find yourself in a circle of beings standing around one of the dearest friends I've ever met, a most masterful, wonderful being named Ambassador Turellian. I first met him when I was writing the Say Raise Agenda book. Everything in those books are from my direct experiences. I didn't make this stuff up in my little pea brain. Nobody grows up with enough PhDs in writing or English to know how to write half the stuff that's produced for films or anything else. Most people are seeing in their imagination into other realities, and without realizing it, they're writing down Star Wars or Close Encounters or The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, which takes place in a parallel dimension on a different Earth. This stuff wasn't made up by these writers. They didn't have anything in their brain growing up they were taught in school to make this stuff up. Think about it. Where did it come from? This is the kind of stuff people don't think about. Fear keeps them from asking the right questions of the omnipresent power. So it just sits there around them and does nothing. We are changing this. The omnipresent power itself has something new moving through it that is called the Hue expansion ray. And it moves only in one direction now, and it is retiring the old failed experiment of good and evil. It is a failed experiment. Been around for billions of years. It has not produced what it was supposed to do. People have not been returning to the source they came from to be co-creators. They're supposed to be conscious, trustworthy custodians and caretakers of worlds and planets and moons and stars and animals and people and each other, and they're not doing it on Earth. Not at all. Quite the opposite. So much has to change on this planet for it to be liberated. We cannot do it amongst the people here. It has to be brought to us from outside, from the greater God. Fortunately, this is what is underway now. Turellian stands 18 feet tall. Because on his world several billion years ago, the entire Say-Rays race immortalized their physical bodies. They have 12-stranded DNA. As I said, they're 18 feet to 25 feet tall. He's just showing the kind of form he once had. This immortalization they did was different than keeping a physical body living forever. They dematerialized the genetic coding of their bodies, stored it in one of the teardrops in the golden area around the white core of their being. When they want to show you a body like he's doing, they just draw on the omnipresent power. They know what the body looks like, and it fills that DNA pattern. It's made of pure hue. It looks human in every way. The gown, the pointed ears, the long blonde hair, slightly wavy to his shoulders, the big crystal clear blue eyes, looks like a Greek god. He's holding two thumbs up with closed fists, and there's a white golden light around it, brighter than the white golden light that surrounds us in space. It is a hue that's been brought from the upper realities, from Source itself. And it's creating an oval field of light around this circle of beings. And then there's the pure hue beyond that, which is not quite as bright. There are 5 ships orbiting in a circle around the outside of us. And they stop. They have blue-gray metallic hulls. 3 semi-spheric, half-sphere-shaped pods in the bottom of the hulls. And we can see, and there's a blue anti-gravitic light around them. They glow a little bit. And we can see through the hulls because we are atmas. We can see through matter, that's not a problem. You can see 4 couples in these ships. One couple is sitting on a lounge, apparently asleep, shoulder to shoulder, in each of these ships. And then you look beside you. You're standing in a circle around Turellian. I'm a little bit further out in space in this circle. Perry's a little closer to the Earth. You are further out in this circle around Turellian. And there's this man and woman standing beside you. You have a body that looks perfectly flawless. That's about 36, beautiful, feminine, which is natural projection of the Atma. And these two standing beside you realize are the couples that are asleep in that ship. This is a process we go through when we go on a secondary implant removal journey, but we're not here to do that. They're beside you to keep your primary implant turned off. Secondary implants are something that need to be removed because they contain artificially implanted death and torture experiences that are not yours. They're subconscious. So they keep people afraid from remembering on Earth. The primary implant is something that actually happened to you, where you were killed and put on Earth with no memory. Everybody thinks this is normal in God's will. It is not. And it's not normal. Most of the worlds out here in space, human and otherwise, those beings do not have subconscious minds. They were never implanted. The human DNA bodies they have what's called a telomere, like Earth humans, on each end of the DNA. The telomeres in Earth people shrink when cells divide. That's aging. In more advanced races, they've mastered this science. The telomeres do not shrink. They don't age like people on Earth at all. You have to get grounded in these experiences of being out of body, at least in space outside of Earth, before you can go much further. If I was not able to describe for you, telepathically show you what these other places look like, where they're located, you'd never be able to get there on your own. I had to go through quite a process in this lifetime, just in this lifetime, to be prepared to guide these journeys. The books had to be written, and then out of that came these guided journeys. Out here in space, there are other beings with us in this circle of beings. Master Ramu is near the Earth, standing there in a physical looking form, maroon colored robe like a monk, simple sandals, a rope for a belt, swarthy skin, dark brown skin, coal black eyes, short cropped curly beard and hair, 6 feet tall, holding a crystal quartz staff that's glowing with golden light, about 6 feet tall. The top of it is crested with what in ancient Egyptian history calls the Ankh, cross with an oval vertical hole on top of it. It's a device. It's a calling card. It's his symbol. Master Opelum, and by the way, Ramu is on Earth, but in the Himalayan area, but not in the Himalayas that you're familiar with. He's from a third higher parallel dimension in the physical universe, where there's a Himalayas and a city there called Agamdes. And he can come back and forth from there and walk the streets in a suit. You'd never know it was him. Never. Master Opelum is out in space a little further out. He's 6 feet tall with pale blue, beautiful skin, emerald green eyes, jet black hair to his shoulders. He's got a Galactic Alliance uniform on. He opens his neck up and little slits, and way up in the upper back of his neck, 3 of them parallel. You wouldn't notice them otherwise. He's holding up his right hand. There are little webs between his fingers. What he's showing you is that on his planet of Oceania, which is located on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy, in the third higher parallel dimension that advanced extraterrestrial craft can travel between, is a mostly water-covered world 4 times bigger than Earth. Has a few islands near the equator and domed cities on it, and transport tubes that lead down to domed cities at the bottom of the Oceanian Ocean. Et and Din are hovering above Ambassador Turellian. There's a sphere above the Turellian's body, that's the Atma, him. And above him is Et and Din, they're Drens. They've got long glowing tails about 3 feet long from the tip of their nose cute nose to the tip of their tail. They're standing on their hind legs. They have pale green skin, have a long snout, big bulbous blue eyes, cute as the dickens. But they are not human. They have big toe and little toes and thumbs and fingers like a human, but they're not human. They're standing upright with their tails extended behind them. Beautiful Atmas hovering above them. I adore this couple. I've known them for 100,000 years. They are master teachers. You will get to know them, but they are not from Earth and they are not human. But notice the Atma hovering above them, just like you hover above your body. They're the same. Slight differences, but pretty much the same. And above them, way up in space, is standing a very important being that I co-create with, who's a mentor, a master teacher for me. His name is Satnam. It means true name, first sound, first word, behind all creation. The body form he's showing you standing up there in space is about 6 feet tall, bronze skin, bald head, golden eyes, not yellow, perfectly built, bare-chested down to his waist, a little white tunic dressed around his waist down to his bare ankles. He's got 2 gold bracelets on each of his upper arms. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. And above him is a more beautiful, bigger Atma than we are, running this form, which is not a physical body. He doesn't have a physical body, an astral, causal, mental, or etheric body in the lower planes. But he comes here to visit us, and has for several months now, for reasons known only to him. This is very unique because he's never done this before in the history of creation that I know of. And above him is an hourglass-shaped vortex with a narrow center like an hourglass. And there's a white golden light that is creating this. And around it is a blue-green luminous energy like water, but it is not water. And up above it, way up in the other end of this vortex, you can see a pale blue, bright, luminous atmosphere. It appears pale blue, but it's really brighter than the hue down where we are. Now we're going to go there, but we're not going to get there from here out in space near Earth. This has been set up when we started to record this journey. I'm going to send out the hue now on different tone levels, and Torellian and others are going to be doing it with me to create the doorways open through the higher realities so we can go on this journey. This is how it's done. We are still in a circle of beings around Ambassador Torellian of the Sea Rays. Torellian's race were once genetic scientists, guardians of worlds, galaxies. Long ago, they helped develop races like human, like ours, develop the DNA, raise it up so that the higher faculties of co-creative ability of the Atmas, us, could run higher faculties through those body forms. This is how it's meant to be done. This has been shut down in people on Earth. kind of amnesia, fear of finding those higher faculties again. This kind of fear has been turned off and kept off by the man and woman helping you. This is their job. It's effortless. No problem for them at all. You look out in space, Tyrellian's pointing out in space between the Earth and the Moon. And if you don't bother to close your eyes and look at this, you're wasting my time. And yours. Don't be foolish. This is for your benefit. Suddenly, in a circle of beings around Tyrellian, this whole oval of white light that's brighter than the white golden light around us in space begins to blur past us. We are moving far beyond the speed of light. And we're moving up above the Milky Way galaxy in that so-called black area, which is a white golden light to you. And you're looking down on the central nucleus, the axis of the Milky Way galaxy, with a white, powerful light coming up the center of the galaxy and extending down below it, constantly moving. And we're moving straight towards the center of the galaxy, way down towards the first series of stars that are located there. The sound is of like humming of bees, a high note of a flute. And it's moving us and driving us to this point. And then we stop to hover above a world 4 times bigger than Earth. Beautiful kind of violet pink clouds, hard to describe. Blue, but they change color. The H2O in the atmosphere of normal worlds is charged with the hue. H2O can store it. So the atmosphere of this planet glows. There's a golden colored ocean out to the western hemisphere of this continent near the equator we're going down to. It's glowing. It's a golden sandy beach. We're coming down above a dome. It's a long, curved, white, glittering white stone dome. Like stone, but it's not. And you can see in the distance, right through the atmosphere, 3 big planets the size of Earth with no polarized caps orbiting this world. Further, you can see in the suns, there are 3 suns traveling across the sky at different distances as this world turns on its axis. One's a big blue-white giant in astronomical terms. Another one's a big yellow one, bigger than our sun. Another smaller one. 3. It's called a trinary sun system. Understand this. Scientists on Earth, the most advanced ones, know today that most of the suns in our galaxy are binary or trinary, meaning 2 suns, big one and a smaller one orbiting it, planets that orbit that. Or trinary, 3 suns. Earth has 1. There aren't many solar systems with 1 sun. The nearest sun to a star to us is a binary system. This has a different effect on human physiology. Has a different effect on the telomere, on the DNA. It has a completely different effect on the evolution of human form. Many of the humans out there in space that travel to this world are 4-stranded DNA, not 2. And if I don't tell you this now, you're not going to recover it on your own. We're moving down into this dome, right through it, because we are Atmas. Tyrellian is suddenly now standing 18 feet tall on a circular, foot-thick blue disc like a center stage. And around that are 15 tiers of white marble-like stone concentric circles with white leather-like chairs, all the way up 15 tiers. And there are 5,000 Galactic Alliance Council members standing to greet us. They know we're here. Of course they do. Their bodies look in age from 20 to 40, maybe 45 at the oldest, which make them thousands of years old. They have a golden sash from the right shoulder to the left hip, white gowns on. different type of human and humanoid races. Bipedal, some of them not human at all. And Turelian is standing in the middle of a white golden beam of light that is coming down from where we're going after this. Outside through the dome, you know there are tall pyramid-shaped buildings, round spherical glass buildings with blue glass on tripod legs, and beautiful gardens, botanical paradise all around it, running little streams and brooks for the aesthetic pleasure of the people who live here. This is Zetronomy 1. And if you don't want to know more, keeping your eyes open will guarantee that. I'm trying to warn you. If you want to know, you got to keep your eyes closed. Because when you open your eyes to the outer world, that's what you're tuned into. When you close the eyes, it shuts off any physical input to your body and your brain. And the inner vision opens up then, the real vision, the real you. It is the only way you can see stuff in other worlds. You have to go there personally. There aren't enough spaceships in the galaxy to grant each person on a spaceship ride. Come on, get real. And most people don't deserve one anyway. Getting on a spaceship and being dropped off on Earth will not change you one bit. The beings on those craft have more important things to do than run around giving people spaceship rides they know will not benefit them. So that has to come about when you're ready, when it'll make a difference, when it will change you. We cannot bring fear on these journeys. Charlie is standing in this beam of energy and he's opening up a big book. Just appears in his hands. It's quite large because he's 18 feet tall. Has a blue cover. It has gray metallic pages that are like metal, and he flips them. And on them are these golden white glowing hieroglyphic letters moving and dancing along the pages. You can see this white golden light coming down through him, going into this book, and being beamed to all 5,000 members. Well, guess what? We in a circle of beings around Turelian, between them and Turelian, are receiving the same energy. It's passing through the Atma we are, and through the human perfect looking form that you show to each other. Then he closes the book and it says the Say-Ray's Agenda on the cover. The Say-Ray's Agenda book I wrote and published is not my agenda. I am co-creatively involved in it, in the higher realities and in the physical galaxy. It's more of the Say-Ray's agenda. In the book, you find that when Turelian appears before this council for the first time in over 1 billion years, he opens that book and everyone in this dome is changed forever. It makes them more interested to look out for the younger races. They had lost that. Like Earth. Otherwise, we'd all be dead on this planet right now from nuclear war. They stopped that many times since World War II. Or we wouldn't be having this conversation, not here. You begin to understand this, you begin to have disclosure wake up within yourself. Then we find ourselves greeted by these 5,000 members with their right hand up. Do yourself a favor. Put your right hand up to them, the one in the inner. Just greet them. Be respectful. Because they can help you. They're going to anyway one day. Then you find yourself up above the planet. You find yourself up above the Milky Way galaxy. Turelian's still the central focus for all of us in a circle around him. And then we find ourselves back in outer space by planet Earth. And we're looking up to see Satnam and that beautiful golden whirling vortex above him. And Turelian starts to move all of us upward, following Satnam as he recedes up into this opening. We start to move up inside this vortex of golden white light spinning clockwise. The sound is indescribable. It sounds like millions of men and women's voices singing the hue on multiple dimensional levels until it blends into a round, whole, vibrant tone. As we move up the center of the narrowing part of this vortex, we can see levels upon levels upon levels of galaxies passing below us, because this vortex is constructed to bypass the lower planes of time and space. This is connected to the void, and it's connected to Satnam's realm above that, and it's connected all the way to the source itself, many dimensions above that. Satnam recedes into the distance, way up high. He starts to come out into a huge, brilliant, it's brilliant, but it's a pale blue kind of brilliance. And the vortex vanishes below us. We're in a circle around Torellian, and Satnam is receding further upward until he vanishes. Now we are floating in a blue, kind of a light blue, luminous void of light. Some beings that have come here think this is the realm of the Supreme Being. And they say there's nothing further, so they don't go further. This is not correct at all. This is pure hue, pure spirit, pure living energy, but it is not the source. It is a barrier between the lower worlds of time and space and the upper realities. We all came from the upper realities, billions upon billions of years ago. It is our destiny to return, and it is our destiny to be co-creators with that source. This cannot be avoided. It is inevitable. This greatly speeds up this process for you as an individual Atma. And then we start moving up at tremendous speed, and we see Satnam again appear. And then we come approaching what appears to be this gigantic, luminous, white, diamond-like beach that extends as far as you can see in both directions till it starts to curve inward, implying that this surrounds a huge floating landmass hovering above this blue void. And Satnam is going down and landing his bare feet on this glowing diamond-like sand. It's glowing a foot above the sand. Behind it are jungle trees. Every variety you can think of on Earth and many more, but they're transparent. There's energy moving up and down through the trunks and the branches. This is not a physical world. This is not the lower worlds of time and space. This is not an astral journey at all. And then you find yourself standing on this beach in a row of beings next to Satnam. And you can feel this energy moving up this pure, perfect human woman form of yours. It goes up your legs, the top of your head, and right into the core of your being, the white core of the Atma, hovering above this form, and brightens it. Starts turning on certain teardrops in the different layers of the Atma that have been dormant or shut down for ages. It's a gift from Satnam. He reaches down and lifts up a handful of the sand and throws it up into the white core of his being. It's a much bigger being than we are. Doesn't brighten it. He's just showing us what to do. So we reach down into the sand, pick up a handful, and throw it up into the white core of our being. Only it makes us much brighter. It's not as bright as Satnam is, no. There's many more teardrop layers in his being than we do. But we recognize the resemblance. We are like him. We start moving over the top of the trees with Satnam as he levitates off the sand. The spherical being is moving above the form. We fly over the top of the jungle, and in the distance you can see a long, diagonal, snow-capped mountain range. The countryside around it has trees and glowing things that just cannot be described, for the most part, in human terms. But I will do some of it. At the base of this mountain is a long crystalline type glass-like palace, and in the middle is these two giant lapis lazuli, blue stone, gold-laced pillars like Roman pillars, and foot-thick golden stairs like Roman steps going up into cathedral, glowing. And inside those, in a triangular opening, is a big blue stone glowing chair, like a throne chair. A Satnam never sits in it that I've ever seen him. And down below us we see a garden, a fountain in a garden. There's a circular white marble or white stone-like floor about 100 feet across, and sitting in the middle of it is this fountain, 15 feet across, scalloped edges, made of a white stone. Has a blue, kind of a square blue stone pedestal in the middle, and Satnam statues standing in it. And Satnam hovering beside it, pointing to it. This is a device. It is a doorway. This is Satnam's realm. This is the Atma plane where we are. It's above the void. The first pure plane of living being beyond and above the void. We came from this place long ago and from much higher. You might as well get used to it again because you're going to have to sooner or later anyway. There is a shaft of white golden light coming down the top of the head of Satnam's statue. His hands, palms out, are at his sides facing forward, and this energy is moving through the palms of his hands, pouring into this bowl with a white golden light that's pouring in an even glistening sheet, rainbow-colored glistening sheet, pours down over the edges of the scalloped form of this fountain and drops down into the ground to vanish between a flat white marble sitting seat supported by 12 intricately carved white legs. That white shaft of light above this fountain leads to an area that was created specifically between the top of the fifth dimension, the first pure plane of being, and the sixth reality, and there are many more above it. And we find ourselves around Tyrellian darting up this shaft of light above this statue until we find ourselves coming out into a far more brilliantly lit cobalt blue atmosphere. And in the distance, floating in this blue atmosphere, the only thing in it is this massive circular floating landmass. It has an even brighter white diamond-like beach surrounding the circumference. There is a blue energy wave like water moving in a continuous crashing all around the circumference of this, and it never stops. There are no moons or suns or planets or stars here. They are not needed. We, as beings around Tyrellian, looking at this, are glowing. Everything here produces its own light. There is no sleep here, no fatigue, no tiredness, no bodies that need to be fed or go to the bathroom. This is what and who we really are and have always been. We are moving as a group of beings around Tyrellian. Why is he in the center? Because he remains focused on the journey for your benefit. Otherwise, you're going to get distracted back to Earth. It's too easy to get distracted, too easy to get mindlessly entertained. We all grow up with it, but it gets in our way. So we have to show a little discipline to go on the journey. We have it in us. We don't have to develop it later. We just need to let it out. And we're moving over the top of this landmass until we're hovering high above it, looking down on it. There are 6 snow-covered mountain ranges in a circle in the center of this landmass. They encircle a spherical land basin with a white island in the center surrounded by a blue-green luminous lake. Coming out of this white circular landmass is a blue glass, transparent blue glass-like administration tower. It's quite large. It comes up, smooth as glass. There's a oval administration area 2/3 of the way up. Then it goes to a minaret point. And we can see down in the bottom of this glass tower, sitting in the center of this white sand, or whatever it is a 4-foot high blue stone gold lace pedestal, up above which is hovering a 4-foot in diameter blue clear glass-like sphere with a cobalt blue star in the middle of it. There's a shaft of white golden light coming down in this tower, feeding that star and going down into the hollowed out interior of the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. This is where we are. This place was brought into creation here for the first time in just a little over 10 Earth years ago. It didn't exist before that. It exists to train beings like us with masterful teachers and beings called silent mentors to begin to understand that a new type of being is being brought into creation nation. And this creation of a new being comes about naturally. It was a combination of silent mentors, the mechanics that control the whole universe, keep it in place, and planets moving on their axis, galaxies, doorways between dimensions, all that stuff. And master teachers like Ramu and Opelam and Etta and Din and Ambassador Trillian. And he's hovering in the middle. There is a fountain in that administration area within this tower, but it has no statue of Satnam in it. It's much larger. And then we find ourselves hovering high above the entire landmass of the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. And we are looking down. This place is just bigger than anything in the lower universe. That glowing beach is intriguing to us. You can feel it drawing you. You look down, it's like dividing a pizza in half and in quarters. In the northwest quadrant, that's where we're going. If you look at the base of these 6 mountains, there are horseshoe-shaped tunnels, very clean, cut into the base of the mountains, and there are white roadways as straight as an arrow, coming out in all directions like the spokes of a bicycle tire that end on this beach. And down each one of these roadways, to the right and the left every so often, is a clearing. These are teaching facilities, not like on Earth. There's no negative nature here whatsoever. And you didn't bring any with you because you're not allowed to carry negative things into the void or go higher. That's kept turned off with your sleeping body by the 2 beings that are escorting you. They're still here beside you. And we're going down to 2/3 of the way down the central roadway in the northwest quadrant and turning right into a clearing. And in this clearing is a circle of 12 trees. The trees are giant. They look like weeping willow trees with broad spoon-shaped blue-green glowing leaves. And standing atop these trees is a man and a woman, alternating male and female. 12 trees, 12 beings. They have long, different colored gowns on, like people in a order in a, I don't know how to describe it. They mean something. Long hair of different colors to their shoulders. There is a blue glass sphere with a cobalt blue star in it, hovering above the center of these beings. And there's a golden white shaft of light coming down into this star. Trillian is standing in the beam up above this sphere. And there's a gas shaft of golden white light coming down the sphere. He's in the middle of it. And we're in a circle around him, between these 12 beings, male and female, and him. Up above them is the real being. The body form they're showing you has no facial features. It's just a bright light. When you look into it, you see levels upon levels upon levels of galaxies, because this is how silent mentors think. These beings are older than the beginning. They are mechanics of creation. They do not normally get involved with human beings or atmas like us. Master teachers, yes. Them, no. Until this place was created, they had no interaction with us. We have to be in this place to be in the middle of the energy they are transmitting. The beings above them, the spherical beings, are 4 times larger than what we are. Twice as many teardrop-shaped, multiple colors of the rainbow. Brighter golden exterior surrounding aura. These are the silent mentors. So there's an energy passing through Ambassador Trillian, through us hovering there in a circle around him, and to the beings that are these silent mentors. And it's moving back and forth between us. This is a gift. I do not pretend to know what specifically this gift is, except to tell you that it has to do with becoming something more than you've ever been. A kind of a prototype. A blending of silent mentor and master teacher at some point in your future. As we go up the planes further from here, all the way to source, we're going to go visit one point above the U Expansion Ray Academy. And we're going to ride that shaft of light with Tyrellian that's above this blue sphere in this clearing. And we're going to dart upward faster than any known speed of light until we come out into a realm many planes above here. And there is a being much more massive than Sat Nam, or a silent mentor, approaching us. The energy around us is a fiery yellow and orange and golden, like fire moving in and out of the ground. As gargoylian images come out of it. But because we are protected, this does not scare us. The sound is roaring with power. This being's name is Agam Purusha, and he actually regulates the raw power from the next plane above, the source behind all life, and the lower worlds of time and space. When I first met him, I befriended him. Most people are terrified of him, in a way that isn't even fear, but still very apprehensive to have any relationship with this being. I figured I don't know if I'd call it he's lonely, but I wanted to befriend him, so we became friends. It was the wisest thing I've ever done. And in the distance in this moving energy, you see a massive silver tree. It's bigger than anything you've seen on Earth. It's perfect, like a fir tree, but it's got silver needles glowing, broad branches, millions of needles. And as we approach it, because Agam Purusha is waving, is kind of encouraging us to go there, you can see that each needle shows a location of a planet or location somewhere in the lower dimensions. Even in Satnam's realm, even in the planes below here before you get to the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. And we are moving into the trunk of that tree with Tyrellian, right through the branches, into this moving, powerful energy roaring up and down the trunk of this tree. This is the tree of life. And then we move up it. And the next instant we find ourselves coming out into an arena of such majesty, a realm so big. The cobalt blue light here is so bright you can hardly stand it. The sound is of a melodic flute, total orchestras playing in ways you can't describe in human terms. And in the distance is this silver-like galaxy, silver golden galaxy, really. And all these beings that look like stars revolving around what looks like a white island in the center of a void in the center of this. These are individual beings. And we're moving through each one of them. This whole group of us is tiny compared to them. We're being drawn towards that island in the center. This is the realm of Prime Creator. This is the realm of Source. Some people call it the Ancient One. And floating above the center of this island, in the very center, is a being far more massive that looks like an Atma, but way bigger, far more teardrops, but we look just like it. We're tiny compared to it, like the size of one of its teardrops. But we're going to pay a visit for the first time in billions of years for some of you to the source behind all life. It is not a being on a throne. It is not a man or a woman. And as we move to this island, the body forms we have that look like pure human dissolve back into the core of our being. Only we as pure Atmas may enter here. And we move between the individual teardrops that make up this massive being until we're standing in the middle of a white core of energy and we hear its voice. It speaks to us with a deep, mellow, almost like a baritone male voice, but it's also feminine. It is not a being on a throne. It's not even an individual. It is Source. It is Prime Creator. It is a kind of a living energy center that is a nexus of all Atmas that exist in the entire multidimensional creation that manifests a presence here that we can relate with. We are in the middle of the Source, floating in it. The white core of our being is identical to this white core. It welcomes us home, and then we find ourselves hovering above the Hue Expansion Ray Academy again, all the way down many planes. And we're going down the western roadway from the western mountain that goes all the way to the beach. The first turn to the right is in a clearing. There's a gigantic four-sided golden pyramid with a quartz cap. We're approaching these circular blue glass-like doors in the face of one wall of this pyramid, walking on these blue rectangular stones. These doors open into the wall of this pyramid, and a little Chinese man comes out, about 5'5", Fu Manchu type beard, little hat with symbols on it, esoteric symbols, the same kind of a robe. You're going to see this guy better if you close your eyes. I can see. Otherwise, you're not going to see him, not correctly. Physical eyes must be closed. So the way this works. And he greets you. He's frail looking. This guy is considered a faultless guardian. He is a master teacher. He has a body form in the etheric plane, not in the mental, causal, astral, or physical. And he volunteered to work as the custodian or caretaker teacher of this pyramid. You see, in the middle of the pyramid is another one of these silver trees of life, much smaller than one we left, but it's connected directly to it. When you go up and look at the silver needles in this, the first one you all look at right on the bottom of one branch shows you planet Earth. And then we find ourselves hovering in a circle around Trillium, outside in space, outside of Earth's atmosphere. And you're looking at Earth and the barren moon, and then it changes before your eyes. It becomes the same planet, but no polar ice caps. There's a big continent over the equator, centered from the left to the right hemisphere. You can see through the planet. There's another continent 2/3 its size, center of the equator on the opposite side. And down near the South Pole, about 1/3 of the way up from it, on this landmass, is an upward curved, half-moon base-shaped, glowing emerald beach. And we're drawn to it. Trillium is taking us to this Earth, which is located in the third higher parallel dimension of the physical universe. This is where I mentioned that Ramu, Master Ramu, hangs his hat in a city in the Himalayan area there called Agamdes. We find ourselves suddenly on this glowing emerald green beach, And there's Satnam again. Our bare feet are wiggling in this glowing foot above the sand. And he reaches down and picks up a handful of these perfectly polished spherical emerald glowing crystals. And he throws it up into the white core of his being. Doesn't brighten him. And you reach down and pick up a handful of these crystals and throw it up into the white core of your being. It goes to the green layer that's shown on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book, and it starts turning on some of these teardrops. They are for help you remember your many billions of lives that are important, that you've lived in the lower worlds of time and space. The white sand that you picked up in Satnam's realm is to help you remember your lives lived above the void. Turellian is standing offshore in this blue-green glowing ocean, up to his knees. He's still got his two thumbs up with a golden light around him. And in the distance you can see a single snow-crowned mountain in a jungle. And to the left, a curved dome, clear dome covering a city with 3 golden-sided pyramids. We'll go on that journey another time. And you find yourself in space again around Turellian, looking at the Earth with its polar ice caps, barren moon, oceans, stars, the white golden light surrounding us. And then you find yourself, each one of you, hovering near the ceiling where you live, with this man and woman beside you, looking down on your body. There's a white golden light coming down through the ceiling, through you, down through your body, through the pineal gland, and out into that big field of energy that surrounds you. People call the aura. And then it moves out into the atmosphere. It passes through you for your benefit and continues on its way for the benefit of others. It goes to 3 pyramids stationed on Earth, 2 at the bottom of Earth's deepest oceans, 1 in the Atlantic, 1 in the Pacific. They're big golden-sided quartz-capped pyramids sitting on the bottom of the ocean floor right now. They have a fountain of Satnam in the center of them. And they are turned on. They are devices. There's one in a Himalayan area on Earth, in a hollowed out interior of a mountain. These 3 are connected. The energy moving through you connects to these fountains, and then it's pulsed out of the sides of the walls of these pyramids, and it goes out in space. And all 3 beams connect into a fountain in a much larger pyramid that's stationed between 2 stable asteroids in the asteroid field that circles in the orbit of what was a planet between Mars and Jupiter right now. They're Galactic Alliance spacecraft, quite large, cylindrically shaped, hovering around it, 3 of them. Then that energy moves out into space and it connects to even bigger pyramids that have begun to be manifested between individual stars in our galaxy. And then it goes to the galactic core. We visited there near Zetranami 1. And goes into that white shaft of light and up that shaft to return to source where we just went. It never stops moving. This is the kind of thing that rubs off on us. Such journeys raise our IQ, our intelligence, because we're bringing back to the body and brain that never learned any of this a higher ability to see into the multiverse. This will go with you in your daily life. This will change you in good ways. When you're ready, open your eyes. Was it really that long of a journey? Oh, about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Good. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this could help Perry's cold too, whatever she's got, just to point that out. Now is the time to be spunky and ask questions. If you're confused about anything or you want some clarification, it will help you when you replay this recording back and go on the journey again. You only have to ask a question if you want it on this journey that will be put on the YouTube channel, mine and Perry's. But you don't have to ask any questions here. It's okay. Doesn't matter if you nod it off a few times. This is normal at first, doesn't matter. You're not doing anything wrong. It's perfectly normal. You've all been adduced to identifying with putting the body to sleep at night and going unconscious with it. That's the problem. That is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to put the body to sleep and leave it, which you do every night anyway. But you have not been taught how to bring back awareness of where you go. We die daily, every time we put our body to sleep. So part of these journeys remove the fear of death, because we can't die. Waking this up is crucial to enlightenment. Okay, I'll bring this.
Oh, hold on. I'd
Yes.
like to add on this. Everybody who goes on the journey or to remove implant journeys, please stay still, because that we have to pay the respect to the beings that helping us. Get yourself prepared. This is very important.
Thank you, Perry. The couples you met will help you with the implant removals if you have not had it done. Some of you have, others not yet, perhaps. Secondary implants are 3. They only need to be removed once. They get out of the way the ability for you to recover mastery over a primary implant. In other words, mastery over anything negative, like fear. Should I go ahead and bring this to a close then?